and welcome to the trading week right before the Christmas time. Right here in Lagos, another trading day. It's great to have you join us. Let's get to the top stories that set to in Jeddah. Today, we're expecting inflation numbers. That's for November. The National Bureau of Statistics is supposed to send us that report today. Meanwhile, think tank Financial Derivatives Company is projecting headline inflation to increase by about 0.76% to 34.64%. FDC attributes this increase to seasonal factors and cost pressures, resulting in higher prices compared to the corresponding period in 2023. On its part, the EIU forecasts inflation will peak at 35% in December 2024 and average about 27.7% in 2025. A disinflationary trend is expected in the long term, supported by forex stability, trade policy, and base effects. All right, let's get a check on the Naira now. We see it depreciated by about 2 Naira. 5 kobo, that was for the last trading day, Friday, 1,514 Naira. That level still maintained. NAFEX window, 1,549 Naira, also down 0.13% on Friday. So that big week, the week before last week, we did get a bullish move there from the Naira, but we're still seeing that range play out so far. And talking about the Naira, organized private sector is asking the Central Bank of Nigeria to address the cash scarcity witnessed nationwide, stressing that the country is not developed enough for cashless transactions. Members of the organized private sector pointed out that the scarcity of cash has adversely affected businesses, especially those in the micro, small, and medium enterprises category, as they express fears of an imminent collapse of MSMEs. The body notes that a significant portion of the population still relies heavily on cash for daily transactions. That brings us to our first conversation now. Joining us is Mukhtar Mohammed. He's the CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Ladi. Morning.
Yeah, morning. So it's like deja vu here again. We're seeing cash is scarce. We're seeing the ATMs are dusty. How are you seeing this new trend?
Well, I think it's not good for our economy. Like I always say, Ladi, the most vibrant sector in the Nigerian economy is the SME sector, and that sector is largely driven by cash. And that is why you've seen that the CBN policy have not really hit the ground running, because the most vibrant sector, 80% of Nigerian business in the informal sector, which you know that is the key employer of labor in Nigeria, especially in the rural area. I totally agree with the Manufacturer Association of Nigeria that says that it's not yet time for us to just go in fully into cashless. I think we've tried. Most businesses are trying to go cashless thanks to the fintech companies also. But again, we have this infrastructural challenge that I always keep saying about, that the CBN have not even been addressed like it's done in developed nations. When you have they share common infrastructure that is there through the help of CBN, maybe coming in, partnering with the bank to bring a strong backbone, especially at the back end. So we are not seeing this, and again, we are seeing that the CBN is so rigid in their cashless policy. Forget about the statement they say openly. You and I know that this current trend of scarcity of cash is largely driven by CBN policy of trying to reduce liquidity to deal with inflation. And it's comical because, again, you see the CBN say we have about 4.something trillion in circulation, and yet where is this money? So I think, and again, they have come out to say this money is not largely with the VIPs, and I think the CBN really need to come hard on the banks, any bank that is fine completely.
Right, and talking about the banks at this point, what would you say, are the consequences at this time? We've heard the CBN issue, warnings at this point, saying that any bank found culpable, also for hawking, the Naira, selling the Naira to most of these hawkers so that you can get all those clean notes at parties. The central bank is saying they'll fine the banks 150 million. So as it looks now, it's mostly looking like the banks are the ones here keeping the cash from us, going by what the CBN is saying.
I think the CBN like passing the buck always to the bank. That's the truth. They like passing the buck to the bank because the bank seems to be the one that is really available for us to hit on. Ladi, he said Nigeria is not the ball of law. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission said they're going to crack down on abuse of Naira. And we have seen that over the time of some ways. I think some months ago, we saw how people were sent to jail for abusing the Naira. We saw how people did out of settlement of court to abuse the Naira. At that time, it was high, and it's like, well, finally, people were scared of even spraying Naira notes in parties. But those mint notes were still in the parties, but they were being done secretly. But after some time, we are back to where we used to be. You see this mint note all over parties again, and there's no any law enforcement agency. I don't think it's in the place of the bank to begin to go after, or the or the central bank to begin to go after those with mint notes in the party. I think the security agent need to do their own work, especially the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. It's not just for you to go after high-level people, and then you have to do it with everybody. The law must be applicable to everybody. Nobody's above the law. It seems that you target some people and you go after them. No. I think for me, when it comes to implementation, I think the security agents, they have the law. They are the ones to arrest. The CBN does not have power to arrest. The bank does not have power to arrest. The CBN is saying it's going to fine the bank 150 million. But again, you ask yourself, if I come to a bank as a customer and I'm fortunate to be giving new mint note because of my relationship with the banks, does that mean that the bank should be culpable if I decide to go and give it to people in parties? I think this is an issue that has to do with strictly the security agency, and I think the security agency should come on this.
Right, and I guess, Mukhtar, this is a good excuse for me not to have to spray money. When I go to some of these parties, I say it's against the law. At this point, I'm not spraying. But, we've seen, most of these banks, declare bumper profits so far. So I'm wondering, is it on the back of, selling the Naira, or commodification of the Naira by selling it to hawkers and also POS agents? This is why we see the banks having all that bumper profit.
No, Ladi, no. How much of these Naira notes are outside and how much of these Naira notes selling down out to the bottom lines of the bank? I don't think so. If you look at the bank profit, it's largely driven by a lot of things they've done. You see in the area in terms of trading, you see the banks in terms of giving out of loans. I think the bank profit, if you look at their balance sheet and you look at the result that have come out, was largely driven by their core indices. So I don't think those Naira notes you see outside had any role in playing in terms of making the banks profitable. I think this is largely profitable for individuals. I think so. It's largely profitable for individuals. And if you look at the bank results, you realize that they got a lot of profit through the non-income sector, that is in terms of transfer. So it is better for them to even put more emphasis on cashless than even doing giving out the physical note. For the physical note, I think it's majorly beneficiary to those bank staff that are involved in it, not necessarily to the bank.
Right, but I guess at the end of the day, the banks smile to the bank, regardless. But it seems this is a plus for the fintechs, more transactions for them.
I tell you the truth, it's the fintechs that really helped the rural banks, rural area. I think there seems to be those that are in line with the traders. They go right there and meet the traders in the market. Sometimes you go to the market now, there's a particular fintech company that seems to be the toast of every small business owner, or especially the informal sector. You have to give it to them. But again, that is why they were established, and that's why the POS terminals also were established. The difference between the fintech companies and the POS terminals, that the fintech companies are easily monitored by the CBN. CBN are able to monitor, put check and balances. Remember, some months ago, those companies were suspended. A lot of accounts were suspended. They did verification. They have to come back, re-verify them before they were back on that platform. So you see that the CBN is doing strict monitoring. But for the POS, I think the CBN have not been strict with their monitoring. You must know why the PBS came into this system just to manage little transaction, 5,000, 20,000. They were not supposed to do more than 100,000. I don't even think it's up to 100,000. But now you see that the POS, when you look at security agent coming after some POS operator, they've done transaction up to 6 million, giving cash up to 5 million, 500,000, 1 million. That's not what they were meant to do. I think the CBN also need to improve their regulatory of those POS operators. I think in terms of the POS operation, regulation is lacking. For the POS terminal, the fintech company, I think they have done very, very well. kudos to them. They have really brought those financial inclusion, especially to business owners, small business owner. But they need to build the infrastructure so that they can penetrate deep into the rural areas.
Right, and sometimes I kind of admire the courage some of these POS operators have. I was driving past Lekki Phase One at some point, and I saw one of them just holding the cash. She was just holding it in her hand there, not afraid, right there in public. But going by what is happening right now, what are you expecting for transactions, in this Yuletide season?
It's going to be tough, lad. It's going to be tough. I just pray we don't get to the situation we got some months ago with the last CBN management where they caused cash crunch and a lot, especially the POS terminals, were taking advantage of individuals. I think the CBN need to act fast because this is largely a period that is largely driven by cash, either in giving of cash or in transaction by cash. It's not a good time for the average Nigerian this festivity period because they strive on cash. The security man wants people to just give him cash. I'm not talking about security men as far as the policemen. I'm talking about if you have security guards, they are looking for cash. If you have laborers, people that work in, they want cash. They don't want this money transacted into their account. They just want to use it and buy something for the festivity period. And those constitute over 150 million Nigerians. And if you look at that and by the informal sector, it's not going to be a good Christmas for them. I think the CBN have to come in fast and make sure they address this cash scarcity, especially because of the common man that depend on cash during this festivity period, traveling from Lagos to their rural areas. Most of these road transport operators do not have POS for them to transit. They tell you they want their cash because when they get to one rural area to purchase PMS, they don't do transaction. And again, the confidence in terms of transaction is still very, very low, especially when you look at failed transaction, delivery or not delivery. So all these are challenges that the CBN have not really come out to partner. I think that is what they should be doing before they fully say, look, you must begin to implement cashless. So it's really a tough time. I strongly believe that the CBN will definitely step in and bring sanity to this issue.
All right, hopefully. But let's pivot now. What are you expecting for the markets this week? That's the stock market. We know it was a positive week, a positive outing last week. So this is the week before Christmas. What are you seeing?
Laddie, Santa came to the market very early last year. Normally, this is when we see Santa, but Santa came to the market early, and hopefully Santa will be in the market. Normally, this is the time that you see a little bit of turnaround in the market because whatever retail investor, whatever they need for the festivity period, they've already taken it out in the first and second week of December. And so January is beginning to experience some bullish runs in the market. So, but like I say, Santa came early. Hopefully, Santa will still remember. One thing I'm certain is going to be an interesting 2025 for the market. A lot of things are going to happen, and I think we'll start seeing that plan out towards the last week of the month of December and the last week of the year. For this week, I'm not so optimistic, and like I said, Santa came early. Ordinarily, I should be optimistic now. But again, you never can tell. Is the stock market. Since Santa came early, hopefully Santa will be there till the end of the year. And if Santa is in the market till the end of the year, then you are going to really see a very bullish first quarter of 2025. Because remember, that's the quarter why the earnings seasons are coming, why the dividend payment for virtually over 90% of the companies that are listed in the exchange. So, Laddie, I think Santa came early, and hopefully Santa will still be there till the close of the year.
Yeah, we'll definitely watch out for that. And talking about Santa coming early, looks like it's early on a particular stock, Golden Guinea Breweries. That's up about 40% last week. It was also up the previous week. What's happening?
I think, Laddie, I try to find out what is happening, but I just think it's a bandwagon effect. We are looking at a sector that is largely driven by Nigerian brewery, largely driven by Guinness. We have not gotten any market information that what is moving Golden Guinness at the moment, because again, if you look at the numbers that have been coming out from that stock, it's not that it's very, very impressive. But I think investors are beginning to look at the penny nature of that stock, especially going through the festivity period when you see those volume price going. And I think it's a very volatile stock. But then it's a stock for investors that are risk takers are putting their finger. But if you look at the fundamentals, you are not so much knowing, you don't see so much there. and you don't know what is driving it. But like the market begin to unfold, but I think it has an issue to do with the pricing nature, the premise nature of that stock. Nigerian Brewery just listing, they just get approval to list their right issue allotment. So definitely, and then most investors are beginning to look at that sector. And again, Ladi, it's festivity period. That could just be the game changer for Golden Guinness.
Right. I guess people might be expected to drink more this period. Thank you so much, Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO, Finance with Mukhtar. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ladi.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we head straight to the oil and gas industry. That's the moment. Do stay with us.